NASA recently announced the International Space Station would be extended another 8 years.
The International Space Station, an unparalleled for cutting-edge research unachievable in Earth's gravity for the benefit of all humanity. An observatory for Earth's evolving climate, a beacon of international collaboration, and our home until 2030. The mission enters its third decade. It is busier than ever, developing technology for human exploration missions to the Moon and Mars, finding new ways to use, and acting as a testbed for in-space manufacturing of advanced materials and new medical products. Humanity's future is an ever-expanding team of nations and companies and for the benefit of all. The International Space Station is a critical step on a great journey ahead to the Moon and beyond.
Today's launch is the 4th operational mission for NASA's Commercial Crew program. In just a few short years, NASA's Megan Cruz is back now with some leadership from our NASA program. Megan.
Yeah, I'm here with
Megan.
NASA's Commercial Crew program. It is really great to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
So what did you think of today's launch?
It's so exciting. You know, it's the launch is in the balcony and hear new people watch the launch. It's always just a breath of fresh air to hear that.
Yeah.
Just a breath of fresh air to hear that.
Yeah.
You know, our mission's not done though, so we're always watching, and I don't breathe until we actually land the crew.
Though it was right after a liftoff, pretty shortly after a liftoff, we heard the
awesome. We have a lot of great people.
Kjell, give you guys a shout out, the Commercial Crew program a shout out.
Yeah, exactly. I think great people that work in our program, and a lot of people that spend tireless days working with them, both SpaceX and NASA, and all of our teams that work together. So really appreciate that shout out.
Is this program, would you say, accomplishing what it set out to do when it was created 11 years ago?
Yeah, I do believe it has. I mean, it was cost-effective, safe, reliable transportation that SpaceX has accomplished. So I think our goals in the Commercial Crew program, we've gone above and beyond on meeting those goals.
Yeah, you've really been the springboard into to be our near future, it sounds like, with all these commercial programs, like you said.
Exactly. It's a new era with NASA and the commercial and human spaceflight, for sure.
Dana, thank you so much. I appreciate you being here.
All right, thank you.
Well, Megan, back to you.
All right, thank you very much, Megan. Kjell, Bob, Jessica, and Samantha are now on course to arrive at the International Space Station around 8:15 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time tonight. TV will stay on the air for continuous live coverage along Crew-4's entire ride to station. Meanwhile, SpaceX's YouTube channel will join live coverage starting roughly 2 hours prior. And though our coverage here at Kennedy Space Center is concluding, we will turn it over to the team in Houston to take us through the next phases of Crew-4's mission, all the way through arrival at the International Space. Megan, when they arrive at the International Space Station, you were talking about a moment ago, it's a big moment. You arrived, you finally got there.
It is such a big moment. It is sort of the culmination of so much training, not just your mission-specific training, you know, working towards pretty much your whole career. And so it's a fantastic moment to come through the hatch, to see your friends there waiting for you, smiling at you. There's a lot of emotions, just a lot of joy, and you're about to get started on a pretty great adventure.
Bob Hines and Jessica Watkins flying for the first time. I wonder what that was like for them.
Well, I'm sure they're still talking about it and still processing it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a lot of thinking that it's hard to take it all in, and they'll be talking about it for days to come, I think. But we're going to see great things from them, from all 4 of them, once they reach the International Space Station. I think big smiles all around, but lots of great work as well. I
look forward to seeing the work that they will do. For those of you watching online on YouTube, make sure you take a look at the description below the video. We'll have a new link for the Crew-4 coast phase, and at that new location shortly. If you're watching on NASA TV, well, you won't notice a thing, and coverage will continue. Also, a post-launch on NASA TV. And you can find mission updates at any time on Twitter, at NASA, at SpaceX, and on the web, Dragon Freedom, during the trip to the station. Now, before we sign off, I want to thank Megan MacArthur for that started yesterday, site and experiences on it that started yesterday and ran into today. Really appreciate it. You
Absolutely.
did a fantastic job.
It was totally worth it.
Oh, fantastic. It was great to hear you say that. And so now we will leave you replay, and thanks to all of our guests who came here, the NASA social participants who joined us and are now going to share the story of their adventures here with their audiences. And we thank all of you who are watching right now. Here are now some highlights from the journey to orbit off the Earth for the Earth. Take care, everyone, and keep looking up. This is the suit-up room inside the operations and checkout building at the Kennedy Space Center. And here comes Crew-4 down the hallway.
All right.
There they are.
There they are.
Jessica Watkins, Bob Hines, Samantha Cristoforetti. Samantha and Jessica there. Bob Hines and Kjell Lindgren. And here come Jessica and Samantha. The closeout crew there appears to have...
Freedom soars and the Dragon flies forth. Vehicle already pitching down range. All 9 Merlin engines have lit.
Propulsion is nominal.
Did you know that if you were born after 2000, during your entire life there has been someone living in space? 2000, during your entire life there has been someone living in space? That's thanks to the International Space Station, which celebrated its 20th anniversary habitation in 2020. You've probably heard a lot about the incredible science that happens on board the station, but the outside is actually prime real estate for all kinds of experiments and technology.
The International Space Station is a great platform to demonstrate servicing technology because it provides power, data, there's robotics in space.
With Tech on Deck talking about some key experiments that have taken place outside in the harsh environment of space.
Exploration and In-Space Services Project Division at the Goddard Space Flight Center. The goal of the division is to usher in a new era of affordable and resilient space flight, both near the Earth, around the Moon, and deep into the solar system. So the Nexus team started off with the Hubble telescope servicing missions. We've taken that technology, applied that to robotic servicing.
From robotic refueling missions that will help spacecraft live longer and journey farther to mission systems, NASA's Exploration and In-Space Services Division has taken advantage of the wonderful opportunity station offers to test new technologies. As we look to exploring our solar system, a sustained human presence in space beyond low Earth orbit, many of these technologies will play a key role.
We use the robots on Space Station to demonstrate the technologies needed to enable satellite servicing in the future. Robots on Space Station to do some of the more repetitive tasks or the dangerous tasks that astronauts shouldn't be doing, like going outside the space station to try to look for ammonia leaks. Robots are very good at moving positions, moving back and forth, doing those sorts of tasks that would be challenging for humans to do.
In order to live in space, astronauts will first need to reach their far-out destinations like Mars. This will require refueling and replenishment, things the robotic refueling missions worked to demonstrate on station. They will also need to be able to construct, maintain, and repair their habitats, as well as adapt to unforeseen circumstances.
To orbit, we have lighting conditions that are representative of objects in space, and so allows us to launch tools and modules into orbit, put them on the space station, and then use those robotic technologies and all comes with the space station to mature those technologies in a way that's much, much less expensive than if we try to launch our own satellite and demonstrate those for the first time, not using the space station.
NASA's work with astronaut tools, satellite servicing, and on-orbit assembly and manufacturing will do the trick.
We develop the technologies that are needed to advance exploration in ways you can service satellites in the future and build structures on orbit, refuel satellites on the way to other planets, repair those satellites, much like we do on that side of space station. Both humans and robots are used to maintain habitat. We're developing technologies that can be used by NASA and others to make those a reality.
The International Space Station is the perfect testing ground for technologies that will be used to propel humans farther than we've. The station is helping us build the necessary foundation to make it possible. Outside of the International Space Station, space can be a lonely place. Satellites are designed to live their lives alone. This means that when we launch a spacecraft or satellite, for the most part it's on run out, or something breaks. You wouldn't throw away your car if it ran out of gas, and thanks to robotics, software, and computing power, we will soon be able to apply that logic. Direction is NASA's Robotic Refueling Mission, or RRM, demonstration on its an important robotic refueling mission, or RRM, demonstration on the International Space Station. Because refueling a satellite that was not designed to be refueled has never been done before, practice is that in mind. The first two phases of RRM took place on station from 2011 to 2017 and tested the tools, technologies, and techniques to refuel and repair satellites in orbit.
RRM Phase 2 were designed to demonstrate end-to-end refueling of a spacecraft, as well as the first steps of cryogenic refueling or replenishment. We wanted to use the robot on the International to demonstrate the technologies and techniques to do this refueling, so we built innovative tools to bridge the gap between the robot and the payload interfaces.
Consisting of a module or box of fixed tools, the demonstrations use station's Dexter robot to operate tools and test servicing tasks such as cutting and peeling back protective thermal blankets, unscrewing caps, turning valve, fluid, inspection, and intermediary steps leading up to refueling.
Once we were all done, we were able to transfer fuel end-to-end through a spacecraft fill and drain valve that wasn't refueled.
The RRM demonstration helped test and prove technologies that will make refueling satellites not designed to be refueled possible, something that will be further demonstrated by NASA's On Assembly and Manufacturing One mission. But it also helped to lay the groundwork for designing future satellites in a way to make them more easily serviceable.
These missions were important because we knew that this technology was ready. There were a lot of people that felt that at the time of RRM that the technology was so far in the future that they possible. So we needed to demonstrate in orbit this technology so that we could start changing the paradigm and incorporate these technologies and missions.
RRM Phase 1 and 2 were all about preparing an interface for refueling, which in many ways is half the battle. To robotically reverse tasks to even access the valve. The next step is to actually perform refueling tasks, which is what the next phase, RRM, missions since 2018. RRM is a critical piece of the sustainable spaceflight puzzle that helps us with the ability to robotically refuel the reach of where humans can go today. Mars has beckoned. Now, the red planet is within our reach. But how do we get there? The key is in the details, and in the technology. First and foremost, you need fuel. Mars, but for any form of deep space exploration. Being able to replenish fuel on a long-duration journey means massive amounts aren't needed up front, freeing up space for other important. Enter Robotic Refueling Mission 3, or RRM-3 for short. This demonstration launched to the International Space Station in December of 2018 and has helped us develop tools and to replenish cryogenic fluid in space. Transferring cryogenic fluids has never been done before in space. They can be used as propellants, coolants, or for life support systems. Being able to replenish these fluids that run out, otherwise known as consumables, is an important part of the sustainable roadmap. Not just for Mars, but for NASA's Artemis program, which will land the first woman and the next man on the moon. Since refueling cryo
Fox 7 and 1073.
Welcome back to the International Space Station here in Mission Control, Houston. We just watched as astronauts Kjell Lindgren, Bob Hines, Jessica Watkins, and Samantha Cristoforetti launched to the space station as part of coming up in just a few minutes, or just a few seconds actually. Dragon is about to do what's known as a phase burn. First apogee, and raises the spacecraft's perigee, or the lowest point, to a higher altitude. Fire for nearly 4 minutes. The team here in Mission Control will monitor the burn alongside our colleagues and Flight Director Anthony. Control will monitor the burn alongside our colleagues in SpaceX's Mission Control Hawthorne and confirm whether it was a good, successful firing. And Flight Director Anthony Varia is in the Flight Director seat overseeing his team of flight controllers. Now that the Crew Dragon separated from its rocket, the Falcon 9, we go into what is called the activation and rendezvous phase. This means that Dragon is configured for on-orbit operations. And we got confirmation that the phase burn has begun. These burns are designed to gradually raise the orbit of the Crew Dragon Freedom spacecraft to align itself more closely. It'll do 5 major burns of the Crew Dragon's Draco thrusters to bring the spacecraft closer to the space station before final approach maneuvers begin. We're on our first of 5 space station before final approach maneuvers begin. We're on our first of 5 burns known and this is our journey to the International Space Station. All is going well with our journey to the International Space Station. The next burn is actually optional for the Dragon spacecraft. It's called the OOP burn, or the out-of-plane burn. Dragons automatically determine if this burn is needed or not. This burn is much shorter than the phase burn, taking less than a minute to complete. This is an educated estimate based on the trajectory of Dragon's flight, but ultimately this computer can adjust the length of the burn in real time. If needed.
Station Houston on 2 for Raja, at your convenience for extra pair of cryo gloves.
Freedom SpaceX, burn complete, nominal burn.
Hey Raja, thank you for reporting story of the cryo gloves.
And Freedom copies, nominal
One
burn.
of the extra large cryo gloves, we would like for you to repack that in JPM. Aft 5, Lima 1.
So one of the extra large cryo gloves at JPM aft 5, Lima 1.
And Freedom SpaceX for upcoming timeline.
The phase burn is now complete, and it all went nominally. Everything is going well.
Freedom.
Hey Farmer, wanted to review some upcoming events with you. We do have a scheduled PMC, so we'll be looking for crew readiness to execute that in about. So we do have a scheduled PMC, so we'll be looking for crew readiness to execute that PMC with the flight surgeon. Additionally, following the PMC, we do have a media event in just over 45 minutes from now. I was looking to solicit crews go or no-go for that event. We also have an opportunity tomorrow before approach.
Okay, copy that. That's still the PMC and 45 minutes until a PAO event. We'll talk about that and we'll get your go or no-go on that.
All right, SpaceX copies. Thanks, Farmer. Additionally, the next burn will be the boost burn per your displays in just over 8.5 hours from now. For awareness, we may encounter a burn before the boost burn if that were to occur.
The crew aboard the Crew Dragon Freedom spacecraft, this Crew-4 crew, they're awake. They're about to have a conference with crew on the ground. Let them know how they're doing, how their flight was. They're not expected to go to bed until about 6 a.m. Central Time, 7 a.m. Eastern Time.
to the station. On 2, all 4 of the crews were able to log in to the MSL 5G network, bring up the homepage, and log into Optimus. And so just confirm you want them back on CrewNet now.
Great news on the 4 Crew-4 iPads. And yes, please back on CrewNet and powered.
Okay, for now.
We're here live in the International Mission Control Houston. You watched as the Crew-4 astronauts just launched from NASA's Kennedy Space Center. The crew began their journey here in Houston, training together months, and just hours ago we got to watch them put on their suits, ride out to the launch pad, and launch to the International Space Station aboard a SpaceX. And as a bonus, we had NASA astronaut Megan McArthur join us. She launched as part of the Crew-2 mission and was able to follow along with launch with us by Apollo 17 astronaut Harrison Schmitt. That was a special treat for us. One of the last people to walk on the moon. Of course, our launch was incredible to see. The mission goes on, and coming up to the moon with NASA's Artemis program. While launch was incredible to see, the mission goes on, and coming up next, the Crew Dragon vehicle carrying the astronauts will continue coasting to the International Space Station. A series of 5 burns, the first phase burn already occurring. Coming up, we'll also have a post-launch news conference, Central Time, 5:30 Eastern. We'll be live with continuous coverage all the way up through docking and hatch opening. The crew aboard Dragon will go into a sleep period at about 6 p.m. Eastern and wake up mid-afternoon for docking operations, which is going to take place at 8:15 p.m. Eastern Time. They're going to go to bed at 6 a.m. Central Time, waking up mid-afternoon. Meanwhile, the crew aboard the space station already as getting ready for their docking. They'll perform a number of steps shortly before Dragon arrives to the space station, setting up the cupola, setting up any emergencies that they may need to get ready for, and supplies needed like the space station computer to monitor docking themselves. This will be an but both the crew in Dragon and aboard the space station, are prepped and ready in the unlikely event of an emergency.
Freedom, SpaceX for PMC.
And SpaceX Freedom is ready for the PMC.
SpaceX copies. SpaceX copies. Privatized Dragon to ground. The next call you hear will be from the flight surgeon.
Okay, Arthur, we copy that. And we're going to defer the first PAO event, the one closer to approach.
Core copies. Thank you, Kjell. Just reading back, we're going to defer the primary broadcast opportunity and defer to tomorrow morning. Thank you.
Thanks.
So we just heard call-outs from the crew that they'll be beginning their private medical conference soon, or their PMC, meaning that they're going to have private time and their flight surgeons to talk about their health status and how they're doing post-launch. If you're just joining us, we're a little over an hour after launch. On-time launch at 3:52 a.m. Eastern Time from NASA's Kennedy Space Center. And the Crew Dragon systems are in good shape. Craft already had its first of 5 major burns, the phase burn, and it was all nominal. We're 2 hours away from the beginning of the crew's sleep period. But when they wake up, mid-afternoon for docking and hatch opening, supposed to happen about 8:15 p.m. Eastern Time. Of course, we'll be on air live continuously. Happens.
Freedom Space Contract on Dragon to Ground, unprivatized.
And SpaceX Freedom has you loud and clear, unprivatized.
Good copy, thank you.
Just to tag up with you, we've got about 26 minutes on so we've got a little more time on that. And then also we are ready to do grab sample container.
Four copies. I am tracking the suit dry time along with you, and you are go to step into that grab sample.
Don't work.
You just heard the crew communicating with the ground about some of their activities that they're about. This Crew Dragon had an on-time launch of 3:52 a.m. Eastern Time from NASA's Kennedy Space Center. Dragon appears to be in good shape. It had a nominal, just one of 5 burns to get it into the...
We're about 2 hours away from the beginning of their sleep period.
The crew just now had their private medical conference, so they were able to speak to the crew surgeon about how they're feeling post-launch. Soon they'll also be able to have a meal together. They've already and are free to move about Crew Dragon. They're expected to head to sleep in about 2 hours. However, we're going to continue our coverage here. We are having a news control. Our guests for that news conference include some mission managers, including Kathy Leader at Mission Directorate, Steve Stitch, manager of the Commercial Crew Program here at NASA's Johnson Space Center, Joel Montalbano, manager of the Vice President of Consumer Operations and Integration at SpaceX, and Joseph Oshbacher, the Director General of Operations and Integration at SpaceX, and Joseph Oshbacher, the Director General of ESA.
6 Freedom for grab sample container. We deployed grab sample container 2015, followed the instructions, did not really get a satisfying sound as a vacuum, gas flowing into the bottle. So just wanted to check with you and see if this is sufficient. We do see that there's an additional grab sample in that hydrogen kit.
Cover that, Kjell. Didn't seem like there was a lot of airflow into grab sample containers. I will check with our NASA counterparts and see if they desire an additional grab sample.
And I'm floating here, Samantha. We both recognize you can be a little bit finicky, but I seem to recall that there was at least some suggestion of kind of airflow into the bottle. But copy, and we'll just stow this for further instructions.
That sounds good, Kjell. I will let you know if we need an additional grab sample taken. Otherwise, you're good to stow.
About a half hour ago, the Crew Dragon spacecraft did its first major burn, known as the phase, performed at the first apogee, or the highest point in its initial orbit.
Of our suit procedure, we're going to command the suit fan off and start sewing the suits.
Space Section 6, and let us know if and when we are welcome back on board with cameras.
Copy that. Yeah, we're still working our way through hygiene, so we'll...
The next milestone occurs later when Crew Dragon undergoes the boost burn. The boost burn raises Dragon's orbit until its orbit reaches an altitude we're going to talk a little bit more about this boost burn and all of the burns that follow. Talk a little bit more about this boost burn and all of the burns that follow as Crew Dragon approaches the International Space Station as it gets a little closer. Coverage of our post-launch news conference with mission managers.
liftoff. America's return to space as Discovery clears the tower.
Discovery, go and throttle up.
Shuttle program, the crew is go for launch.
Roger, nice to be in orbit.
We have followed in their footsteps to
Nice to be in orbit.
We have followed in their footsteps to get us where we are today.
Good morning, and thank you to everyone who has stayed up with us through to watch Crew-4 launch. It was a beautiful nominal launch at 3:52 a.m. Eastern Time from Launch Complex 39A right here at Kennedy Space Center. From Launch Complex 39A right here at Kennedy Space Center. And now three with the European Space Agency are on their way to the International Space Station, the fourth Crew rotational launch as part of NASA's Commercial Crew program. We have leadership from NASA here to answer some of your questions about the launch. First, we have Kathy Leaders, Associate Administrator of NASA's Space Operations Mission Directorate. We have Steve Stitch, Manager, NASA Program. Joel Montalbano, Manager of NASA's International Space Station Program. Also, Jessica Jensen, Vice President of Customer Operations and Integration at SpaceX. Tucker, Director General of ESA. You know the drill. We're going to start off with some opening remarks from each of our guests, and then we're going to take questions from reporters we have here in person, but also some reporters we have on the phone. Why don't we start with you?
Thank you. So, well, if we look tired, it's because we maybe are a little bit tired. But what a busy week in NASA space operations. And 40 hours ago, we had our first private astronaut mission splash down, and the team carefully went through that data and then set it up for launch. And, you know, one of my favorite things is sitting in Fire Room 4 and having it be really, really quiet. And that's what happened today. And so the space executed beautifully, and now Dragons safely carrying Kjell, Bob, Samantha, and Jessica to the International Space Station. I really want to thank the SpaceX team for doing such a great job of getting having the launch look so great today, and anyone that realized what a beautiful launch it was. I really want to thank the NASA team that actually has been working this really hard, getting ready, and I really want to thank Joseph and the ESA to be able to carry some of the ESA precious cargo up to the International Space Station. So but like we talked about numerous times, safely is to do it one step at a time, and we're doing it one step at a time, and I'm really looking forward to docking this evening. Thank you.
Kathy, thank you.
Ma'am.
All right, Steve.
Thank you.
Kathy, thank you.
And it's interesting, as Megan opened up with, this is our fourth crew rotation flight. It's kind of hard to believe, you know, it seemed like Demo 2 was just, it's kind of hard to believe, you know, it seemed like Demo 2 was just yesterday, and it's exciting to be here. You know, we had a clean countdown today. The rocket did great. The Dragon vehicle did great. You know, it was great to see the crew get it. There really wasn't anything of note that we worked in the countdown. You know, I think we got a little fortunate with the weather. We wasn't anything of note that we worked in the countdown. You know, I think we got a little fortunate with the weather. We took advantage of the same high pressure system that allowed us to land Axiom. He said 39 hours later we launched. That allowed the weather to be good today, and we were able to kind of dodge a booster. We worked very hard, our team, to certify this booster over the last 4 months. And it worked great, flawlessly delivered the crew into orbit. The Dragon spacecraft is doing great. We opened the nose cone, did a rendezvous burn. The crew's in good spirits, you could tell by the video. They'll have a meal, they're having a meal, and then they'll go to sleep around 8 a.m. Eastern. And then the events are really focused around the rendezvous, which will dock later this evening, 8:15 p.m. Eastern Time. This is the fastest launch to dock that we've done. It's about the same time it takes to go from New York to Singapore, so it's kind of interesting. And then the big event will be the approach initiation. We'll start at 6:13 p.m. Eastern and set us up for a docking. And we're really looking forward to it. We're going to take our step of the mission. The big step today was getting launched, and the next big step we'll do the rendezvous burns and and get the crew ready to go dock to station, and then we'll start the handover. We're planning a 5-day handover, and we'll watch that handover time and work toward an undock around May 4th for Crew 3, and landing probably about 1 day later on May 5th if the weather's good. And thanks for being here today.
Joel.
Hey, thank you, and thank you again for joining us. What a beautiful launch. It's always awesome to see a night launch and to watch the smiles on the crew's faces. Good picture of Jessica launching, and she had a smile from ear to ear, so it was pretty cool to see that. With a good launch and a good ascent and now a nominal insertion preparing for the docking. Again, this vehicle will dock to the zenith or space-facing port, the one that the Axiom crew left open for us just a couple days ago. Steve gave you the times, and so we'll be looking forward to a good docking tonight. But no rest on space station. Just a few hours after docking, our Russian cosmonauts will be going. And then, as Steve said, we'll be focusing the next few days on handover, targeting about a 5-day handover with on docking. And after that, just 2 weeks after that, we'll be looking at the OFT-2 mission, targeting for May 19th, and then another SpaceX cargo mission in early June. So awesome to be in human spaceflight. Awesome to be mission in early June. So awesome to be in human spaceflight, awesome to be station and to show what we've done for over 20 years. Huge thanks to the Commercial Crew Program, to SpaceX, our European partners, all our international partners for what we do. It's just awesome. Over to you, Jess.
Thanks. Hey, so I thought I would start with a little bit of a call that Falcon 9's boost. I thought I would start with a little bit of a high-level mission status. Falcon 9 deployed Dragon into a nominal insertion orbit. Saw that Falcon 9's booster landed on our newest autonomous drone ship called a Shortfall of Gravitas. And as Stitch commented, Dragon is going through its initial on-orbit, so the nose cone has opened, the solar arrays are generating power, the propulsion system's fully nominal, all the Dracos are working, so yeah, everything's looking great. We're going to have to do those to catch up with the ISS later tonight in preparation for rendezvous and autonomous docking. On the ISS, we're really excited for Kjell, Bob, Jessica, 200 science experiments. You know, not only do these science experiments benefit humanity on Earth, but they're key to enabling humans to go past low Earth orbit for long durations. And we're happy that we get to be a part of this with you guys, that we get to learn along the way, and that all of us are increasing access to space. I think that's why we're all here. And so, you know, thank you for letting us be a part of this. After docking, like I said, yeah, we're going to bring Crew 3 home. The Crew 3 vehicle on station is currently healthy. So I think the biggest thing we're going to have to do is check the weather again and have all those fun meetings. So thank NASA and ESA for your trust. Thank you for trusting us and letting us fly your astronauts. It's an honor, and we don't take this responsibility lightly. We're always looking at ensuring software, our processes, our people, everything is, you know, as robust as it can be. So I also just want to thank the 45th and the enabling this launch today. Over to you.
No, thank you. Also from my side, I mean, it is a huge pleasure being here. And really the partnership which we see with SpaceX is just wonderful. We have been working so well together. This has been a fabulous partnership and cooperation, and as ESA, European Space Agency, we are very proud to be part of this large team, which brings now Kjell, Bob, Jessica, and Samantha into orbit. And this quick word on our contribution of ESA. So Samantha Cristoforetti is our astronaut, one of the 4 of them. She had birthday yesterday, so she in the capsule. We have seen it before. She is a female astronaut, which in Europe is also quite important. Everyone inspire ladies and men and young kids just alike, and she's really a role model, and she's doing men and young kids just alike, and she's really a role model, and she's doing an enormously fabulous job on doing exactly that. She speaks many languages, of course Italian, her mother tongue. She speaks perfect German, French, English, Russian, and also Chinese, and she really has picked up all this language. Former fighter pilot of the Italian Air Force, Of course, now she's an astronaut of ESA, and she is looking forward to the mission with many experiments to come, about 35 for her to do. And this will be part of a big crew, of a big. This will be part of a big crew, of a big exercise, and she is really very happy of doing that. But really, as ESA, I really would like to thank all our partners, NASA and SpaceX, for making this possible, and for us to be part of this adventure, which is quite unique and gives us a long presence. Space station now, she's the third one after Thomas Pesquet, Matthias Maurer still in orbit, and now Samantha following. And this is almost a year and a half of continuous presence of Europe in the space station. So really very happy, and thanks once more.
Thank you so much for those opening remarks from everyone, and thank you for reminding us about Samantha's birthday. What a fun way to celebrate. All right, to questions. Is there anyone in the room with any questions? Over there.
Thanks. Irene Klotz with Aviation Week. For nominal duration for OFT2, dock.station?
It'll be a short mission. We're looking at, about 8 days or so?
And 4 to 8 days, depending on weather. So real short. We'll come up and dock. It'll be great to test the rendezvous system on Starliner, and also the NASA docking system for the first stay docked. And the big driver for landing is really weather, and so the prime landing site for that mission would be the White Sands Space Harbor. So.
Thanks. And also for you, Steve, what specifically to see before getting comfortable to agree to use a 4-flight booster?
Yeah, I read through the analysis of that booster. So we look at the structure, how it handles each one of the flights. We also go look at the environment that booster for the reentries and the launches, and we go analyze all that data. We look at the other, fleet boosters and how they're performing, and so we performed that whole certification and went through the FRR process, and we were really happy to go fly the booster for the 4th time today. So.
All right, next we have Michael Sheets from CNBC.
Hi, all. I appreciate you guys doing this presser here and continuing to do these after each of these missions. It's really important for us to get to these questions. And my question's for Jessica, SpaceX operations side of things. Obviously, you splashed down AX-1 on underneath the Dragon program, or are these the same people who were working?
Have one team. It's our space operations team, but we have one team. It's our space operations team, but we have leads and key personnel that are separate, basically working those 2 different missions. That way they can all be sleep shifted appropriately, not have We're one team, but we have that team. We're one team, but we have that team assigned to specific missions. Some people overlap, but we always make sure our crews are rested and that we're fully prepared. So yeah, we basically have a large enough team. These activities, these 4 critical activities that are happening over this short time frame, we had different people, working each one of those.
Okay, we have another question on the phone from space.com.
Hello, thank you very much. And my question, I think, is also for Jessica. Steve Stitch mentioned just how quick this rendezvous for Crew Dragon is compared to the 4 prior that we've seen. And I was just curious, what is the challenge to make that happen? And could we see even faster rendezvous to 4 orbits, that sort of thing, and what the stretch is to get there? Thank you.
Yeah, so mostly it's just a timing thing of what day we're launching and the orbital opportunities that are available. The space station, if you kind of follow the ground, depending on where it falls with regard to the launch site, that sort of determines our phasing. So I'd say it's sort of a little bit of luck of how we wound up in this. The opportunity tomorrow will be a little bit, it can vary by, like 10 to 20 hours of phasing just, on a day or 2. So it's not really that we changed anything. It's just the orbital mechanics of where the ISS is. So that's the main thing. We're not changing anything in the way we do our operations with NASA.
And it was kind of lucky that we had this very quick rendezvous today with up on space station. So actually this short rendezvous was pretty favorable for us. We get to station a little quicker, and we can do the preparations we need to once we dock to get Dragon Day, and it'll work out really well. So.
And Steve, this is probably a question for you. This is from a reporter that couldn't be here in person. Turnaround between launch of Crew-4 and splashdown of Axiom, and how did NASA and SpaceX prepare to accomplish that, to make the decision to proceed with Crew-4?
Yeah, I think that's a good question, Megan. I would say you leverage that this time to have this 39-hour turnaround. Basically, we had a turnaround between the Crew-2 landing. Leverage that this time to have this 39-hour turnaround. Basically, we had teams on console watching the undock sequence and with Axiom. And then immediately after landing, we started getting data back from the vehicle, and we started having our teams jointly review it between the NASA and SpaceX teams. I saw some of the briefing charts, and it was just how rapidly SpaceX is able to turn that data around and get it to all the subsystems so they can review it. You know, we looked at the whole vehicle performance, and we really didn't see anything off nominal law. It looked very nominal. Those that watched, the parachutes performed nominally. All four inflated in sequence this time without having a lagger. SpaceX actually on the ship was able and just see was there anything off nominal at the heat shield. You know, that's a very critical system, so we go look at that. They took photos of that and shared that data back with our NASA team. You know, I think we worked together as a partnership between NASA and SpaceX over all these years, and I think that partnership, that teamwork, that camaraderie between our engineers and the SpaceX engineers makes it turn around real quickly and analyze from a landing to launch. So.
Okay. Is there any other questions here in the room? Over there.
This is for Dr. Ashbacher. Now, ESA will have 1.5 years on station solid. Are there any plans to do a year in space mission for any?
Sorry, could you repeat? I didn't hear the question.
Okay, so this marks 1.5 years of will be 1.5 years of ESA being on station. Any talk of doing a year in space mission like NASA has done?
Okay, no, thanks a lot for this question, and a really good one. It's something that really inspires us to have now this experience in space, or almost continuous stay on the space station. So what we're doing in Europe now, we are having a very important funding milestone coming up in November this year, where we call it the conference of ESA. So in ESA, we are having every 3 years funding cycles, not annually, but every 3 years. And there we put a program together, of course, to continue our operation on the space station and up with new elements, which we would like to contribute then to NASA as a partner in order, or in exchange of astronaut time. That means flights of astronauts. So this is what we are doing. We have a lander, a large lander, which we are preparing for that, 1.5 tons to the moon. Of course, a big truck, if I may say, that is Mars sample return, and of course to Artemis and the gateway, where we are providing hardware, SLS, but also IHAB, Esprit, and some other activities. So yes, we are putting this program together, but on the ministerial conference, I'm also initiating a dialogue with politicians to see whether Europe wants to state from my ministers at the Space Summit in February conference. I'm also initiating a dialogue with politicians to see whether Europe wants to step up one level and have a stronger presence also on the export from my ministers at the Space Summit in February this year. Also, Mr. Macron, President of France, was presiding at this with a mandate to work for a year and a half with an independent, very high-level group and assess the options of where Europe wants to go in human exploration. This can go all the way to its own human-rated transport capabilities, LEO capabilities, and of course Moon and Mars in the longer term. So we do not. I'm undergoing the work now with this team. Of course, this will be a big exercise, partially political, partially technical, but by November next year, I'm a space summit with my member states, and then the options will be on the table for decision. So yes, we are at a very exciting time in Europe to really see where we want to go in human exploration. Of course, that I'm very inspired what I see here in the US, SpaceX being next to me, but also several other commercial activities. The NASA commercial program is just fascinating, and I'm really learning a lot there to learn my lessons from how this really works very successfully and see how much we can adopt in Europe for this. So yes, we're very fascinated. We have some very interesting capability partnership, but certainly my goal is to strengthen even further our role and our contributions to this partnership, and this is exactly what's happening. So yes, in a year and a half, probably we have made an important decision in Europe to do that. Thank you.
Thank you for that question. And I think there was one other one in the room. Yeah.
Kind of a little fun question. Morning's launch, and so this morning's launch, Phil Keating, Fox News. And 2 weeks ago, the Axiom 1 launch, both SpaceX launch, and so this morning's launch, Phil Keating, Fox News. And 2 weeks ago, the Axiom 1 launch, both SpaceX, a lot of launches, as we all have seen and witnessed. These last two seem super, super extra loud, like car alarms are going off. Are you guys doing something different?
Could be atmospheric conditions that actually can really change. I've heard many launches myself, and it's amazing just, where you are located, and the atmospheric conditions can make a big difference in sound. But so I don't think the sound level of the engines has changed.
That was a fun question and a fun way. Continues on NASA TV with docking targeted for 8:15 p.m. Eastern Time tonight with hatch 2:40 a.m. Eastern Time. And that celebration is always fun to watch, even when. Then the welcome ceremony will happen tomorrow, April 2:40 a.m. Eastern Time. And that celebration is always fun to watch, even when it's in the middle of the morning. So until then, I hope those here on the dais can get some sleep. And for everyone else, have a great morning. Play of the launch.
This is the suit-up room inside the operations and checkout building at the Kennedy Space Center.
All right.
There they are. Jessica Watkins, Bob Hines, Kjell Lindgren, and Samantha Cristoforetti. Samantha and Jessica there. Bob, Kjell Lindgren. And here come Jessica and Samantha. The air appears to have the hatch shut.
Freedom soars and the Dragon flies forth. Vehicle already pitching down range. All 9 Merlin engines have lit.
Propulsion is nominal.